Hi everyone, we're going to talk about in-text citation. It's good to remember that in-text citation is a guide to the works cited page. I do not ask you to create works cited entries for your discussion board posts. However, it would be good for you to write the works cited entry of your source down for yourself so you can properly format the in-text citation for your post. We can see here a typical example of a works cited page, and the information that usually comes first in a works cited entry is the author. Note, however, that if the author's name is not available, then the next bit of information would be provided first in an entry. In this case, in the last example, the author's name is not available, and so the source comes first in the entry. In this case, it's the article title. And this is relevant because whatever comes first in the works cited entry is the information that goes in the in-text citation. So let's look at an example. Here we have a quote by de Montalvo. He's the first person on our list. And you can see in the text that he has not been introduced beforehand. So if the author has not been introduced, it's proper to put his last name and page number in the citation to indicate who is speaking. Notice there's no comma between his last name and the page number, and there's no P or page indicator before the number. It's just the number itself. Now let's look at a different scenario. What if we did introduce the author beforehand? And we're going to introduce him by full name. That's proper to do first before you introduce them or talk about them by last name only. So now we have Montalvo introduced beforehand, and according to the MLA handbook, it's not proper to also put his last name in the citation because he's already been introduced. So if he's been introduced and there are no intervening authors speaking, you do not need his last name in the citation, just the page number itself. Because readers can see who's speaking here, they can refer to the works cited entry and know where you got that information from. All right, now let's look at another example. Let's imagine that we're using this last works cited entry as our source. We have no author, and we are going to put that article title right there. Take this one out. So we've introduced the first information of the works cited entry already, and notice this comes from a web page. In that instance, because web pages do not have page numbers and you do not want to make a page number up or use a paragraph number, we actually need no citation at all. So if the information that comes first in the works cited entry has already been introduced, as in this case, and we have no page numbers available to us, then we have no citation at all. However, in the case that this article or this first information has not been introduced beforehand, we would need to include that in the citation. Now note, though, that, here, let's put our parentheses here. Note how long this is, though. There's a lot of long article titles or information that could go in the citation, but it's not necessary to include the entire title. So in these cases, all you need to do is create kind of a signal phrase that indicates which entry you're referring to. So we're just going to use the first two words of that title to signal to readers where to look on the works cited page. Notice that I did use the quotation marks to signify that this is an article. So again, there is no page number available, and we did not introduce that first information beforehand, so we're just including that information in the citation to signal to readers where to look. So I hope this makes sense to you. And note that if you want further information on some of these topics, on the bottom of the discussion boards, there's resources that lead to videos that will go over these things more in depth. So I hope that helps you. Let me know if you have questions, and I look forward to seeing your posts.